What's going on, everybody? It's Pastor Paul, once again, your life recovery coach, and I'm actually representing the JTC, and we are on the move. Check it out, guys. I got this awesome special interview with my man, Little E. I'm just going to call you Little E, right? I met this dude, and he was like tiny and tiny, both ways, you know what I'm saying? But we're doing this awesome interview today because you went to the prisons, what, a couple weeks ago?
Last week, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. And so we're going to be discussing that, especially because he's a 19-year-old young man that has never been in trouble, right?
No, sir.
Right. So out of the perspective of someone who's never had to go into the prisons, we're going to take this time to do this interview because I believe that it's going to be an impact on everyone's life that's watching, whether you're young or old, that's going to help you to understand the whole perspective of what it's like to actually go into the prisons. You good with that?
Yes, sir.
All right, cool. So question number one, man, being your first time stepping into those prison walls, what were you thinking, man?
I was thinking of it as in the movies, how they'll always have the big security guards with the guns at the doors,
right?
Just in case anything were to go down. But we just walked in, and it was the little lady at the desk for sign-in and roll call, and once the inmates or the kings, they started walking in, it was like they were just normal people coming in to learn something.
Wow, that's awesome. So on your way to the prison, how did you feel?
Definitely a lot of nervousness and suspense. I wasn't sure what to expect when I walked in.
Wow. All right, man. So now that you're in there, you're acclimated, you're comfortable, you're in that atmosphere, and you're going, okay, I can do this. I'm here, so I'm really gonna make the best of this thing, right? So as you stood back and observed the services, what were you thinking?
I noticed the respect that they were showing my dad. I can tell that they were engaged and what they were speaking, because you could speak to somebody, if not showing that eye contact, you can tell by the body motion, the way that they're sitting, whether or not they're facing towards you or faced off to the side, you can tell whether or not they're engaged. It showed that they were more attentive, they were more appreciative of the opportunity given to them, that somebody came and spoke to them so that they could help better themselves.
So on a level of 1 to 10, okay, what level of respect did these kings have for your dad, E. Wilson?
Definitely that 9 or 10 range. You could tell when they were walking in, how when you greet somebody, whether or not you shake your hand, how if you haven't met somebody before, you shake their hand, you'll give them a little fist bump. But if you know them, you'll dap them up, you'll hug them. And the eye contact, and my dad was talking to them as if he knew, as if he was family with them, as he was one of their own, as friends, a close bond.
Right, kind of like a reunion.
Yes, sir.
Like, what up, dog?
Yes,
like getting in there, right?
Yes.
Wow, that's really, really cool. Okay, so you never saw your dad operating behind prison walls, right?
Correct.
You just heard the stories, you saw the videos, and you would just kind of see him through the documentaries, right?
Yes, sir.
So with that being said, what was your thoughts as you watched your pops in action?
Him speaking out in front of the prison was no different than what he's been doing. It was no different than when he was speaking at the hotels and at the group and the guys come together. No different than when he's at the office and the people come together and he's speaking to them. He was speaking to the kings, the inmates, as if he was speaking to people on the outside.
Wow. So he gave them that level of respect as if he was going to give that level of respect to the president.
Yes, sir.
Right? Okay. So how do you feel about what your dad has been doing for these kings behind prison walls all these years through JTC, as far as the many visits and him responding to almost 700 letters? How do you feel about that?
It shows how much my dad backs up what he says, in the means of, it's one thing to say that you want to help others, you want to get involved with others, you want to be an inspiration to others. And it's another thing to actually do it. You had people coming up saying how much they respected him more, and the fact that it's one thing to say that you're going to write a letter to somebody, and they said that people would say that they would write a letter. Some of them would type it up, but my dad actually physically hand writes the letters. He said that his handwriting isn't the best, but the fact that he writes the letters shows how much he cares about what he's doing.
Right. Wow. That's powerful. Very, very powerful. All right. So being the age that you are, being able to go to the prison, what would you say to any young kid that says, you know what, I want to go to prison because it seems like the cool thing to do?
It's not a place you want to be. You're in a cage. It almost, when I walked in, it was it looked as if going to a zoo, the animals have more freedom than what's in there. It's barbed wire, cage after cage after cage. So yeah, it's restricted as far as from what I saw.
Right.
Walking.
Right. Wow, man, that's deep. That is deep, and I don't think a lot of people realize what you just said. You know what I'm saying? As far as being caged up like an animal, and animals have more freedom than what we would in the prison. So how did you feel when these kings started giving you their ear to listen to what you were saying?
It showed me how much more respect they had for my dad, that they would respect his son in the same way that they would respected him. As you can, when you feel people looking in the back of your head, you can feel the eyes looking in the back of your head.
You get the little ibby-jibbies.
I felt that when I was standing up there speaking to them, I could feel the eyes looking, and I looked around, people were engaged, they were nodding their heads, and I noticed that when I asked the questions, when you ask the questions, it shows that you're more engaged and they were interested as what I was talking about.
Wow. So you actually showed that you cared.
Yes.
And so that allowed them to see, you know what, it's not just Erik about Erik. It's Erik about helping others, but also teaching his son how to do the same thing.
Yes.
And I believe that's what makes JTC what it is today, right? Is the heart of the matter. That's awesome, man. All right, guys. So I want to thank you for tuning into this interview with Erik Wilson. I want to thank you, bro, for coming on to this interview and just sharing your heart about what it was like being in the prisons. Is there any final words that you would like to add?
No, just thank you for having me.
Awesome. So you already know, guys, if you're going to have a conversation,
make it a good one.
We out.